Back to episode 4. Jungkook laughed out loud. He didn't really expect Taehyung to say such a thing. Taehyung saw Jungkook laugh like that. For the first time, he looked even more handsome or cute as a bunny. Jungkook came back close to Taehyung again and cupped his cheeks. What do you call the just feeling when he really feel like eating the person in front of you? He wanted to eat this cute ball of softy. JK, do you really think I care about money and your paybacks? He laughed again. Taehyung blinked his eyes again. I think you are unable to come up with a nice idea. How about I give you one? He asked. Taehyung had no other option then agreeing to Jungkook. He nodded his head. Jungkook moved his thumb up and pressed Taehyung's lower lip, and he bit his own lips. JK, how about you give me a kiss every time we see each other? JK asked, and Taehyung had to skip a bit. He had never had any man touch him like the way Jungkook touched him. He suddenly happened to realize their position. Jungkook had his own arm wrapped around his waist, while the other hand kept his lip cheek while his thumb crushed his lips. Blood rushed to his cheeks and he lowered his head in embarrassment. They tried but could not get out of Jungkook's hold, and his eyes catch a chin around Jungkook's neck. The one with a grayish blue printed. Jungkook lifted his head up and made him look back into his eyes. JK, I think that's the perfect deal. So now kiss me, he demanded. Taehyung roamed his eyes throughout the room. He handed Jungkook's neck, the one with the grayish blue didn't. Jungkook lifted his head up and made him look back into his eyes. JK, I think that's the perfect deal. So now kiss me. Kissing Jungkook would keep him alive, then they had to do it, and so he lifted his chin and placed the lips gently on Jungkook's left cheek. Jungkook was amazed at Taehyung's action. He had not meant a kiss on his cheeks but on lips, but he liked it when Taehyung kissed his cheeks. JK, don't play innocent, you know, right? I didn't mean a kiss on cheeks. I want them on lips, he said. Taehyung JK said Taehyung's eyes grew big. He didn't realize that Jungkook would ask for a real kiss. He thought it was just a play kiss. He had never done this before. Kiss on lips was a big deal for Taehyung. He had promised himself to do such things only with the one he wants, the one he would want him. I have never done this on lips. I have never done this before. He wanted to. He went back to stutter. Jungkook smiled back. It excited him even more to know that he was going to be the first kiss for such a beauty as same as Taehyung was going to be his first kiss. That makes the whole thing even great. Then let me help you with this. I will kiss you first. You will observe. They wanted to have He wanted to have Taehyung's consent before he does anything. Jungkook would have never forced Taehyung into this, but Taehyung thought that he had no other option. He didn't really feel like he was being forced. He did adore Jungkook. Jungkook was all over his head since the moment he had seen him in person. Knowingly or unknowingly, Taehyung fell for Jungkook's trap. A trap maybe he could never get out of. He hummed and closed his eyes when Jungkook moved closer to his face. Jungkook gently placed his lips on Taehyung's. They were soft. He then parted his lips to capture them completely. Jungkook was happy to taste this beauty of. He tasted strawberry and smiled at the taste. JK wanted to explore his whole mouth, but maybe it would become too much for the first kiss. The Jungkook pulled back to look at the butterflies dance. The moment Jungkook's lips touched his and his lips were warm as sun. It made him lose his mind. He never knew it feels this good to kiss. He hated it when Jungkook pulled back. He slowly opened his eyes to see Jungkook smiling at him. He didn't expect him to smile at him. He was supposed to make fun of Tae. He was supposed to feel proud. JK, now it's your turn, said Jungkook. Smile not leaving his face. Taehyung stood on his third and closed his eyes as he touched his lips with Jungkook. He tried to do the same as Jungkook had done, but the feeling made Taehyung forget his and he all about this, and he went on with Jungkook's lips moves. Jungkook took the control again and kissed him deep. This time he could feel Taehyung relax himself against his body. Taehyung's large legs were literally shaking, but he didn't want to stop. He didn't want this kiss to end, but the kiss came to end when Taehyung ran out of breath. He still keep his eyes closed. He don't want to open his eyes. He would embarrass himself. He was not supposed to enjoy the kiss. They finally opened his eyes when Jungkook crossed his cheek, but could not meet his eyes. He kept his eyes low down towards the floor. JK, this is enough for today. You should get some sleep, princess. And he moved away from Taehyung towards his study table and picked a file and turned the pages. JK, good night, princess, he said and went back to serious mood. This sudden change in Jungkook's behavior kept Taehyung in the slight shock. He fixed his dress and hair as he eyed Jungkook, but Jungkook didn't lift his head up from the file. They wished a small good night at the frequency of the Torah and quickly slipped out and tiptoed to his room like a kitten. Jimin cracked his eyes open. He felt sore all over his body. It's the pain of the body healing. His joints were not in good condition. He recognized that his room was not Taehyung's. He thought that they might have shifted him to another room. He could see bandage on the wounds. Just then, Jimin almost screamed, Yoongi. Yes, it's me. Nice to meet you, baby, he said. Jimin, baby, asked Jimin, this time with a small smile on his face. Yoongi, you were all over me that day and begged me for go rough on you. Did you forget me so easily? Asked the man on whom Jimin was drawing on. Jimin didn't reply. He just blushed at the memory of that blissful night. How can he forget the man who took him to the edges of paradise, the man who made him think about him all the time, the man who made Jimin wanted to spend one more blissful night with him? Jimin, did you save me from my kidnapper or what? Asked Jimin, changing the topic. Yoongi, really not, but yes as well, he said. He sensed Jimin's confusion. Yoongi, you might have had a wild night, but I know that you don't really know me. I am Yoongi, Jungkook's younger brother. I help Jungkook in his business. I am the director of Jeon chain of companies. Yoongi said, Jimin, Jungkook's brother. Jimin screamed again. Yoongi, baby, cool. Don't scream. I am not a harm to you and your friend. Good at I'm not good at beating around the bush. Let me speak to you to the point. Ever since that night I have been searching for you. I even went to the same club almost every day, hoping to see you again. Ever since that night, I have lost my interest in every other human. I guessed I like you. No, I am sure I like you, Jimin. I really want you to be mine, said Yoongi. Jimin was on cloud nine. This was what he was waiting for. Even Jimin had lost all his interest in other men. Jimin, your brother is capable of keeping us here captive, and the world out there has no idea about it. And yet, you took whole weeks. Yoongi, actually, I don't want Jungkook to help me in all this. In fact, he doesn't involve me in all of his other business. Namjoon and Jungkook take care of it, while I help Jungkook in business only. Jimin it. What do you mean by it? Asked Jimin. Yoongi, you don't have to know about that. Jimin, stay within the boundaries as long as you stay here. I have requested Jungkook Young to spare you, and you are my responsibility now. So please don't cause any problem. Though I like you, I wouldn't be able to help you later. Yoongi said. Jimin, Jimin just hummed at it. He can't guarantee that he would mind his business and would not stick his nose around the house. Jimin, thank you. He whispered. Yoongi, for what? Jimin, for taking care of me, for saving me, and also for liking me. He blushed. Your kids would do now. Wiggling his eyebrows, he knew Jimin wouldn't mind giving one. Jimin, for now, I only pay once, only this time, he said, as he had never begged Yoongi to go rough. Yoongi just stayed silent. He knew how to handle the cute little man who was soon going to be his little man. Jimin shifted his seat near Yoongi and held his cheeks. He smiled as he touched their lips, and the firework began. The case deepened as Yoongi took control. He swiftly took Jimin from the bed and set him over his lap. Jimin pulled the hair in pleasure. He had craved for this touch, for this kiss, for his body, for this man. Jimin, for sure, no. Yoongi slowly moved towards his neck and kissed and mark over his mouth skin. A cry escaped from Jimin's mouth. He held Yoongi's shoulder tight as Yoongi touched his neck. He slid his hands in Jimin's shirt. Jimin yelped in surprise and looked at Yoongi. Yoongi, you like it, don't you? Asked Yoongi. Jimin gave a quick peek on his lips and replied, I like it. I like everything you do to me. I like you too. Yoongi crushed his neck and pulled him into a passionate kiss. He rubbed his hand all over Jimin's smooth skin and teased his nose. He started kissing Yoongi and going further. Don't do this, baby. You are not physically fit right now. We can't do it. Jimin pouted at the refusal. He had waited for whole 2 weeks for this moment, and when this was finally happening, Yoongi was refusing. He still kissed him again. Yoongi kissed him back, and the make-out session continued for a few more minutes. But when Jimin wanted to do more, Yoongi stopped him again. He cupped his cheeks and said, in his ball, he hugged Yoongi tightly and rested his head on his chest. Yoongi hugged him back with the most admiration. He slowly leaned back and rested his back on the bed. Just a few more minutes and Jimin was already snoring Jungkook. Yoongi's warm chest. He smiled at his cute man in his arm. He shifted him a little and cuddled himself with Jimin to sleep. As promised, Jimin was shifted back to Taehyung's room, and Yoongi and Jimin continued to have the secret relationship. Yoongi freaked him just the way Jimin asked him, but the strangest thing was that they were not in any kind of relationship. On the other hand, Taehyung had no idea about Jimin's secret. In fact, he was thinking that Jimin was being forced to some kind of say. Jimin also didn't know about the deal. Taehyung has agreed to save him from Jungkook. A knock was heard on the office door and Ken walked in. He bowed and handed Jungkook a file. The work is done. That man was no longer exist in the history, he announced. Jungkook smiled and hummed. He flipped a file and looked at the same face that he had shot the night Taehyung was kidnapped. JK, good job. No one can escape betraying me, he said. Jungkook was a man of his word. Never had he ever betrayed anyone and expected the same. He kept all his men well fed and entertained, but being the second strong mafia in the Asia is not easy task, and everyone has to follow certain rules and regulations. He built jeon chain of company and JK company to cover up the economy of mafia. He eventually grew big and managed to gain more income than the mafia. But mafia is such a world where you can get in there, no way out. It's either you destroy it completely or you die. That's the only way. Apart from all this, Jungkook had few important goals to achieve, which could only be possible if he stayed in mafia world. And he himself has no urge to get out of this, cause he was born in mafia family. His mom was a mafia leader, and after her death, the throne was eventually passed on to Jungkook. The gang, well known as the King, and the had made his place safe at the time of his mom and maintaining the same wasn't a difficult task for a man like Jungkook as the leader of the gang. He was been trying for years to reach the most strongest mafia in Asia, the Russian mafia, but all his tries has been unsuccessful. But ever since he had met Taehyung, things seems to have done made process. Can all these documents have been erased? No records of his birth or death, said Ken. JK, what about his family? Jungkook asked Ken. His husband died a few years ago. His adopted two sons have been sent to the orphanage and are registered under your care. No worry about them, all said. Jungkook was always like this. He never wanted the family of Anno to suffer. At the end of the day, Jungkook studied the file through angrily and handed it back to Ken. He bowed and walked out of the cabins. From some reason, Jungkook's mind drifted back to home, where a beauty was kept captive. No one had ever managed to grab Jungkook's attention the way Taehyung had done. He recalled the memory of the pink pouch melting in between his own thin lips. For some reason, his heart escaped a beat. This had never happened before. His smile at himself. He knew Taehyung was taking some other place in his heart. So our Rude Mafia is having feelings for our pink beauty. What do you think about their beautiful relationship? And what they think about this story? Comment it down. I'll see you again. Bye bye.